I guess we'll call the meeting to order. This meeting for July 14th, 2022. Not a Lillooet tool. We are meeting on the unceded territory of the Lillooet Nation. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Jen. Director Kennett, seconded by Director Mack. Those opposed? Carry on. I'm sorry, just having a problem getting my agenda to come up here. I'm just going to switch computers. And we have a delegation, I believe, at 105. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
He is coming in person and is not here yet, but I have 103, so.
Can we go through the consent agenda just to get out of the way?
We certainly can.
If I'm going out of order here too, Ms. Clark, just stop me. I'm kind of just taking lead from Director Richmond. He's been chairing, so does anybody want to pull anything out of the consent agenda?
I'll move it.
Okay, moved by Director Mack, second. Director Kennett, all those opposed. Motion carries. Do we have any staff reports we can move through? Say the SLRD CAO. Do you have a report, Mr. Dalton?
Good morning, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair. Nothing for me today.
Okay, thank you. Village of Pemberton CAO, Miss Tracy. Sorry. Do you have anything to report?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, CAO Tracy. Where are we at for time here? 104. We have time to go through the information report for the rec services. Second quarter report for 2022. Ms. Burns.
I think I can expedite the process prior to the delegate arrival. Thank you very much for having me today. It's nice to be here in person and see faces. It's exciting because it's the first time in almost 2.5 years. So this is great. Second quarter report for recreation is just a quick update of how everything went. I think the highlight from this report is the fact that the public health border restrictions were lifted in this quarter, early in the quarter, which was fabulous, which allowed us to start moving in the direction of operating under a new normal, but more like pre-pandemic operations than pandemic operations for sure. So we were very excited about opening the doors completely, staffing the facility accordingly to ensure that we could deal with walk-ins. So that was wonderful. I think we saw, surprisingly, we started off thinking we weren't seeing as many fitness participants as we had when we had scheduled time slots. And I think it's because we just got used to seeing people on the hour, every hour. And now they just kind of wandered in when they felt like it. And so our numbers were better than I anticipated for drop-in visits, which was fabulous. Fitness programs went fabulously as well. And then we were able to start offering special events. So the first special events offered were within the youth center, and they had 4 weeks of Friday night events where they had laser tag in the library, they had movie night in the library, they had bubble ball, which is soccer bubble ball, as well as they attempted to have a dodgeball with the RCMP evening, which didn't get any take up for that, which surprised me. I thought for sure there'd be a few youth who wanted to throw some balls at RCMP officers. But that's okay. We'll try that one again for sure. So we are starting to see youth return in different capacities. We had drop-in volleyball with the girls, mainly the girls this spring, and that was a huge success on Wednesday afternoons as well. There were a total of 6,733 fitness scans. So that's how many people came in and worked out independently and uniquely, which is amazing. And then We also had National Health and Fitness Day on June 4th. And we offered a pass promotion this year, which was buy a 3-month pass, get the 4th month free. That we saw a 46% increase in sales of 3-month passes, which was awesome. And I think I was really pleased with how the community were like excited about the opportunity to have a pass promotion. So that was awesome. As well, we opened up all of our outdoor spaces in Q2. It was a bit of a slow start due to the unique nature of the winter that we experienced this year, which meant that winter lasted a lot longer in Pemberton than I think it has in 20 years. So that meant a slow start for outdoor fields, but once up and running, everything went super smoothly. Spray Park opened on Friday, May 20th, just prior to May long weekend. I think I'm looking forward to seeing the hydro bill and being able to compare it to last year's Q2, because we had the heat dome and it was hot last spring. So this spring, not so hot. The major projects that we had completed were the ductless air for the youth center was added in, and that's complete. And the rec is now air conditioned and very comfortable, according to our facility maintenance coordinator, which is fabulous news. As well, we moved forward with the library on the accessibility project, and we have the south doors of the Pemberton District Community Center that face Portage Road will be accessible, I think, tomorrow. I believe the electrician's coming to connect everything tomorrow, which is fabulous. As well, if you're going a library user, you will see that they have new doors and they're a beautiful new blue. So we've gotten lots of feedback on how wonderful that is, and the library staff are really happy. So that makes us happy. And those will be accessible as well into the facility. So we're really excited about all of those movements forward. And then other than that, I think everything else is in the report, and I'm open to some questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, Ms. Burns. Director Mack.
Yeah, just thank you for everything, obviously. Yeah, happy to see that the water park is up and running. So you just mentioned the air conditioning and the building was that building built without air conditioning?
The rec was, yeah. The youth
Oh,
center,
really?
senior center, it didn't have air. So it was quite uncomfortable last summer.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a oversight.
A little
in this
bit.
place.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it's all there now and it's running well.
It's running fabulous,
Excellent.
and we're pretty pleased with the contractors that were used as well. And we came in slightly under budget on that project.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And then with Gates Lake Park, like I go by there all the time, that's getting used, very frequently, which is really nice.
Yeah.
There's no issues there with, like facilities, there's enough there and everything.
Yeah, everything seems to be going quite smoothly up there this year. We have seen an increase in use just since July long weekend, because I think that's when when we started to warm
warming
up. So
One question, and I should maybe ask Angela this, the well that we've been trying to get activated for, it seems like ever. Do you have any idea where we are with that process?
that project is something that Angela and I have
Okay.
had some brief conversations in
Right.
regards to, but it has been tabled at this time. And that is more of an Angela question
Okay.
at this time.
I will ask that because I have there's money there to complete that project. Like
Okay,
areas, the amenity funds, it's been there for quite a while. Yeah, and I have questions coming from people in the community.
okay,
Where's our potable water, right? Well, it's still in the ground. So I'll talk to Angela because we need to get that completed.
okay. I do believe that one sits, from our conversations, that one sits with SLRD and Angela.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, we're just
Thank you.
management.
And yeah, thanks for everything there.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Mack. Director Kennett, do you have any questions for Ms. Burns?
Not at this time, thanks. Just thanks for your hard work, Christine, and appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Kennett. Yeah, and I'll echo the same sentiments. I mean, everybody at the village, and I'm sure at the SRD, they were really happy with the work you're doing there. And yeah, I'm glad to see the community center back up and running. It's one of those big hubs for the community, and especially for kids and young adults. So thank you.
Pleasure.
Motion to receive second quarter report. Director Mack. And second by Director Kennett. All opposed. Motion carries. Ms. Clark, shall we move to our delegation? Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. So you're giving us-
I am the manager of the Pemberton Farmers Market. So I'm
Thank you.
here, I guess, to review the report that we submitted for the ongoing funding to run the Friday night market. Luckily this year, we haven't had to deal with COVID restrictions. Unfortunately, this year it's been a very cool start, as you just mentioned. So product availability is just delayed and delayed. So we don't have, we don't quite have the vendor numbers that we were anticipating having by now. But I think this weekend we back up to full capacity with our vendors, which is wonderful because it just makes a more vibrant event. And we've been lucky also this year to be able to have some live music again, because that was something that was not we couldn't do it because of COVID restrictions. We were able to at the end of last season. So we've got money in the budget now we don't have to use for COVID restrictions, and we can pay musicians to come, which is wonderful because the musicians are really enjoying being able to perform live again as well. I think we're doing a great job of addressing food security. We have the bulk of our vendors at the market are food and farm producers, augmented with some craft and artisan, which is ultimately the goal of a farmer's market. And we're lucky in Pemberton and this little Sea to Sky corridor that we have enough farmers and farm vendors that are able and willing to participate in the market. And they're finding that they're busy enough, it's worth their while to come, which is something that's taken some time to build in this community for sure. We're part of the BC Association, and as such, we are part of a coupon program. So it's run by BC Health. $3 value coupons are given out through the Healthy Pregnancy Outreach Program and the seniors group in town. So they're given $27 worth of coupons weekly to spend at the market. Restricted to most of them to fresh produce, but they can also get eggs and meat and honey with a couple of them, and plant material. So that brings more people to the market, and yeah, it's just a great program. Last year there was $12,000 spent at our little market using those coupons through those two groups, which is wonderful. Yeah, I think we're on track with our budget and everything this year. Do you guys have any questions? Yes. Oh, I guess I don't feel that.
Thank you for the report. Are there any questions? Director Mack?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's exciting. Just watching like on the news and whatnot with the way the food situation is going everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just great. So now everything is starting to ramp up like now. So all the produce that would normally have been 2-3 weeks ago is now coming online now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe that's not a bad thing because it should carry then a little further on. Do you think?
It depends on the weather.
Yeah, exactly.
Last year with that heat, what didn't fry, people had successive plantings and it just all came on at once because it was so intense.
Yeah.
And we had just so many, I mean, it's the weather. There were so many issues just with people trying to travel here from Lillooet last year. They couldn't get through because the Duffy was fire, open, closed, slides.
Like I watch the weather constantly, and you know, every time the guys start doing hay, you know, there's probably a 3 or 4 day window, and then it's going to rain for a couple of 3 days,
Right.
and that's exactly what's supposedly going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's all good.
Yeah.
And we don't have these 40-degree days in the forecast. So yeah,
So
I
some
think
stuff
it's,
is catching up, some stuff is delayed. It depends.
yeah.
And there's a few farms participating in the market this year that they did 10 and 12 years ago. They've been going to the city, and now with the price of fuel and their kids are getting older, they're actually coming to the market again this year.
No, that's good.
and doing well and simplifying their life. They're not traveling to Vancouver and to Coquitlam with their products on the weekends.
Yeah.
They're coming here for a few hours Friday night. And they get
And are you drawing
Oh,
people in then from, say, Worcester, Squamish, or,
vendor wise,
customer wise?
we don't really have a great way to track that. Nobody accounting for who's from where,
Yeah.
but just anecdotally through the vendors.
Yeah.
I would say probably half of the sales are to people from out of town,
Yeah,
give or take, depends on the week.
no, that's really good.
Yeah.
No, it's just a wonderful thing. So anyways, good for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Mack. Dr. Kennett, go ahead.
Yes, Nicole, I was just, thank you for the great job. I have been frequenting the farmer's market, and it's a great vibe, and it's a good time to come downtown and check everything out and also go to the other stores and so on. I did have a few folks that have said to me that they just wish that the market could be open until 7. There's a lot of folks from Whistler who live here and would love to participate, but by having the market shut down at 7, it's really a constraint for people that work during the day and have to get back to Pemberton and so on. So I was just wondering if that would be in the future on your agenda.
I know in years past, it ran from 3 till 7. The last couple of seasons, they shut it down at 6:30, but having open from 3 to 6:30 just doesn't resonate with people. People just, 3 to 6 makes sense. And now everyone's got a square. It's so easy to track sales. And about 4:30, there's a drop, and 5:30, there's a drop. And after 5:30, people just aren't selling anything. And there was maybe 2 markets last year after 6 o'clock where it wasn't just me and the vendors sort of watching our watches so everyone could go home. There's just not the sales there for people. So that's why we shortened it to just be a bit more fast and furious. I mean, it can't be open long enough for everybody. I was a real advocate for actually doing it from 2 till 6 because the town's quite busy earlier in the afternoon. It's hard. We're just trying to find a sweet spot where it's the most efficient for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. I'm glad you're at least open till 6:30. I thought it was shutting down at 6.
It is
So
6
that's
this year.
something.
Yeah.
I'm okay, thanks. I was just also wondering, do you think there's any appetite for maybe 2 groups? Maybe some younger people would like to do an evening market or something.
I know that some of the artisan and craft vendors were discussing that last year, maybe extending into the evening. Then it would no longer be a farmer's market. So it would be something else, because we're regulated through the BC Association who can participate in a farmer's market. That's part of the reasons we get a great deal on rent of the barn and all these other programs and insurance and things available to us, because it's more about food security and having a venue for local farm produce.
I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. I grow a garden, but I was just thinking maybe there would be a group of some farmers that might be interested in bringing in, or maybe, fruit growers and so on from Lillooet coming over with their fruit and hanging out a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Just an idea, something to take back maybe to your committee.
Sure.
Thank you, Director Kennett. Director Mack, did I see your hand up?
Yes, thank you. I think the best thing to do is just let you folks do what you do. Yeah, because I mean, it's pretty successful, and like you just said, you're keeping track of the sales as they go up and down throughout the day. So you know when it's right to be there, and yeah, there's no point in being there if you're all standing around waiting to get out of there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's more important things to be doing. So no, I think that's really good.
I've sold at farmers markets before when my kids were younger, and I mean, you're out in the sun all day picking that stuff and cleaning it up and hauling it there, and at the end of the day, if you're not selling, you just have to go home and clean up and pack up and feed the animals and do everything else.
Yeah,
It's a long day.
that's a good point you just made. Like, so the produce that comes in to the market that day is probably harvested that day.
Or
for
often
the
the
most
day
part?
before, depending.
Yeah, day before.
Yeah, a lot
So-
of them have.
So that makes for a long couple of days as it is, right?
Yeah.
Because like you say, you gotta get home, either put what you didn't sell in the cooler and get ready for the next day.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Director Mack.
Thank you very much for that.
I just wanted to say, I really appreciate the farmers market being there, and now that the restrictions have been lifted, it's fantastic to head there on a Friday night. So thank you for carrying on with that. I think it's a great thing for the community, and it definitely promotes the local community farmers as well in the best way possible. So thank you for that.
Wonderful.
Are there any other questions from the committee or staff? Seeing none, can I please have a motion to receive the report from Pemberton Farmers Market? Director Mack, seconded by Director Kennett. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Look forward to seeing you again next year.
See you all tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just scroll down. 8.4. Is there information report, the PDIF funding report? Is there staff reporting on this, or?
I can speak to that, Chair, and that's simply a PDIF program requirement for the farmers market to file a report, and you've just heard from them. So this is just provided for the committee's information.
Thank you. So do we need to receive that, Ms. Clark?
Yes, please.
Motion to receive the funding report, 8.4.
Make the
Made
motion.
by Director Mack, seconded by Director Kennett. All opposed, motion carries. And then 8.5.
This is, I can speak to this one as well, briefly. The two very, very secretarial amendments to the PDIF policy. So they're pretty self-explanatory, and unless there are questions, it's really just for the information.
That's kind of what I saw too. So if there are no questions, no. Director Mack,
I'll move option 1, the preferred option.
thank you. Second? I'll second it. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, 1 second. Okay, 8.6. Request for decision proposed Pemberton transfer station fees and charges regulation bylaw. Is there staff reporting on this?
Yes, Ms. Belsham and has joined us virtually, and Ms. LeBlanc is going to be coming in person here in a minute.
Thank you very much. Good to see you again, Angela.
Thank you, Chair. Nice to see you as well. Good afternoon. Angela Belsham, Director of Environmental Services for the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District. And I will pass this report over to Marie-Lou LeBlanc, who is with you in person, and we will be able to speak to the report.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Marie-Lou LeBlanc, Resource Recovery Coordinator for SLRD. So staff is here today to bring forward the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District Pemberton Transfer Station Fees and Charges Bylaw, number 1779/2022. So the last update to bylaw number 1299/2013 for the tipping fees was in 2016. So 2022 will review to an update. So basically, the purpose of this proposed bylaw is to, effective November 1st, 2022, align with the new transfer station opening, would be to do the changes to reflect the current cost of the operation, the new service levels, which includes the scale, and just update the languages to align with the other bylaws that we brought forward this year. Across the regional district. There's some high-level information in the report. I can go in more details or answer your questions.
Director Mack?
No, it's a very good report. Thank you for that. The only thing, and this is, I guess, a minor thing, but for the landfill, the tipping fees, it says for a small bag, it's $1.50.
Yes.
So I have to come there now with a loonie and 2 quarters. Like, couldn't we just leave that one at $1? And the other one is $3 for the large bag. And I know I shouldn't say this probably, but at the Divine transfer station, it's $2 for a large bag. I'd like to keep it that way, of course. But so we've got an extra $1 on here. Is it possible to take that $1.50 back to $1 just to make it easier for a person to come in, put their loonie in the till and carry on without having to dig around for change?
Yeah.
And I don't think we're gonna, I mean, after a 6 month or a 1 year period, we can see where we're at. If we're not making any money or covering our costs, I'm not really concerned about making money. We just need to cover our costs. But we do have $3 a bag for the large bags. So that's just a thought.
So if I may, Chair, with the new scale, we'll have the option not to pay only cash, but to pay with debit. So that can ease the process. We know that people don't carry cash most of the time anymore. So that will ease the $1.50 versus the $1. We already, like, obviously we will do what PVIS decide and provide us with the information. However, we already know that we're not covering the cost of the operation. We're not right now. And even with this increased fees, we won't be covering the cost of the operation just with the tipping fees. And staff believe that it's a fair amount of increase since we haven't increased since 2016, which is 6 years.
Yeah.
But obviously, staff will move forward with PVIS side.
Yeah, I guess just.
Go ahead, Director Mack.
Yeah, the thing that I just don't want people to get to the point where they're thinking it's costing me too much to take my garbage to the landfill and it's going to end up somewhere else, or it's going to end up in the villages, bins in town or whatever. I think we have to figure out a way to recover our costs, but not in the tipping fee end of it, because people are paying taxes into this to begin with. So now they're putting a tipping fee on top of that. So you're kind of double dipping on those folks is the way I look at it. So maybe what we need to think about doing is to cover the cost as much as possible through taxation so that people pay on their taxes to use the transfer station. We cover our costs, but they don't have to go there expecting to pay an extra fee to drop off their garbage. It's just a thought for the rest of the board to think about.
I can bring some information about this. You are correct in the fact that sometimes there's a line that we don't want to cross in terms of how much tipping fees we want to charge versus illegal dumping. The difference at the Pemberton transfer station compared to the Divine transfer station is we also have organics provided for free at the Pemberton transfer station. So if everyone is doing the right thing, which is separating the recyclables, separating the organics, we should be left over with a very small amount of garbage. And with the tipping fees, that's what we want to encourage people. That's why this year the intention is not to put fees on the organics, to encourage people to do the right thing and really separate organics from what goes to the garbage. So that's kind of the idea of having a little bit of tipping fees on the garbage and keep everything that is recyclable as low as possible, which is all the recyclables material with Recycle BC is free of charge as well as the organics. This is kind of the intention of staff to keep adding a little bit of tipping fees for the garbage, but also to be mindful of we do still want people to come to the transfer station, dispose of their garbage responsibly.
Okay, just one final thing. So then I guess the thing to do is, this is going to start November the 1st. You know, do a 6-month or a 1-year trial run with these numbers and see where we're at. We do have a new contractor that's going to manage the place. So, okay, I can live with that. If you come back in a year and say, okay, everything's going fine, we're covering our costs or whatever. Yeah, I'd just like to know that in the end, the taxpayers are getting the best deal for their money and the best product that we're supplying, right? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Director Mack. Director Kennett, you had a question?
I was just gonna sort of reiterate what Russell just said. There has been a few folks who just hear, you know, the word on the ground that people's taxes are going up somewhat because of this new transfer station, which fair enough, it's going to be a much better product than what they have had. But I think we have to be cognizant of the fact that we just don't want to overcharge people, considering, you know, all of the other dumping fees, like to taking your fridges and all the rest of it, right? And we want to be as accommodating as we possibly can be, because, you know, it's high cost of living here anyways, right? And then this is just one more added thing and more added things. So I get what Russell is saying to try and keep the costs minimal.
Thank you, Director Kennett.
Through the
Yeah,
chair.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if I totally understand that, and staff were very cautious of, if you look at all the other costs and compared to like Western and Squamish, we're still lower than the Western transfer station in Callahan and Squamish landfill. We understand that in the area, we weren't able to raise the tipping fees to align with Western and Squamish. However, staff is hoping to kind of like reduce the gap between what it's costing Pemberton and Area C residents to dump their waste to the Callahan transfer station versus what the residents are paying at the transfer station. If I'm clear, we're still charging less than what basically we're paying at the end facility. So we are very cautious of that, but we're trying to reduce the gap. It's still not as expensive in Pemberton transfer station than in Western if we compare.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was looking at the cost structure here too and saw that, you know, there are minimal increases, although I can respect Director Mack and Director Kennett's opinions as well, for sure. In saying that, Director Mack, did you want to put a motion on the table to revise the schedule or review it, keep it as it is and review it in a year?
No, I'll put a motion on the table that we accept this report as is, or this fees and charges bylaw number 1779, 2022, with that we revisit it after 1 year of operation to see how our costs are being covered.
Excellent. That's the motion on the table. Ms. Clark.
Thanks, Chair. If we could just maybe have that as a third resolution, but adopt, if the wish is to do the readings and adoption as a recommendation to the board, and then as a separate resolution.
Okay.
To revisit.
So then I would move then the first, that is the first 3 readings.
We can do together at this.
Oh, and the 4th too?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will move the two that's then together.
And second, Director Kennett. All opposed? Motion carries.
And then that motion that I made about coming back in a year and revisiting the cost and everything, I'll move that.
The motion on the table is to review the cost structure in 1 year's time. Motion made by Director Mack, second. I'll second it. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, staff. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just scroll back up here. Okay. Decision on late business. So there was 10.1 was the update report on the Pemberton basketball court. Is that correct? And is Ms. Burns reporting on that?
Yes, I will start with that one. Thank you so much for allowing a late report. I really appreciate it. This has been an entertaining process for sure, and it's moved quickly. What I wanted to update you on is that we've been back and forth with the school district multiple times since I reported last on May 12th, I believe it was. On a location. So, and that also meant dealing with BC Hydro as well. So it has been determined that we must stay outside of the BC Hydro right of way. So the picture in the report that I included shows it's basically going to be in this exact spot, if not as flush to the BC Hydro right away as possible. We've engaged an additional survey to make sure that we have that right away identified correctly, and we don't encroach upon that in any way, shape, or form. So that I think happened yesterday afternoon. As well, at the same time, the owner of Murphy Construction came forward and has volunteered his project management time and skills to help move this project forward for the community, which has been extremely helpful and has moved extremely quickly. And as a result of that, we have definitely identified that with the new location and ensuring some safety and accessibility and a few other things that we will potentially see an increase in the costs that will be incurred. However, we do have the ability to accommodate in current budget. So I just wanted to present this as information for PBIS to receive.
Thank you, Ms. Burns. Are there any questions? Director Mack?
So what is the finish timeline projected?
So the majority of the construction is planned to be done for, I believe it's Friday, August 26th. The goal is that we are signing contracts with BCT fencing as well as Alpine paving, ideally tomorrow. Alpine paving will be doing the site prep and all of the asphalt and requirements for that component. And they'll be starting Monday, July 25th. Or week of, with the intention that fencing will follow immediately after, as well as asphalt. So it's going to be a fairly quick turnaround. The only delay is the anticipated delay from a supply chain perspective is the actual basketball net itself. So we're just working with the provider on that piece of the project, anticipating that they can provide the sleeve required for the actual post that will hold the nets, so that they can be put in during the asphalt phase and everything like that. So the goal is that all of the major construction is complete before Tuesday, September 6th. So school can return with at least a asphalted and fenced amenity. And ideally we'll be shooting some hoops, hopefully by Thanksgiving at the latest.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms. Burns. Are there any other questions? Motion to receive the report from Ms. Burns. Director Mack, seconded by Director Kennett. All opposed. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Ms. Burns. That's fantastic news. We're all looking forward to having the mayor's tournament.
Myself as well, and I hope you're all.
Only saying that 'cause
safe.
he's not here.
I'm gonna let the mayor deal with that one.
Yeah.
That's his department.
Thank you very much. Okay, so just back up. Well, I think that lends us to the business director's notice of motion. No director's notice of motion. And motion to adjourn. That's it. Made by Director Mack, second by Director Kennett. And we are adjourned. I hope everybody has